Hello, and welcome to the Poker Knuckle Show! Right.
You on drugs today?
What we're gonna do is... Which Mad Max is better? Fury Road or Mad Max 2?
Why did we choose Mad Max 2?
It's better than Mad Max 1.
Yes, and what we also decided is that the Road Warrior has many things in common with the Fury Road. Fury Road is basically more like a reboot of the second one rather than the first one.
Sure.
They both have the Gastown Run as their main.
Yeah, this is so the five things. Special effects, considering the time. We will look at the chase scene. We will look at who is the better Max. We will look at the villain, and we'll look at the storyline. Alright, let's start with special effects.
We start with the special effects. Well, for me it's always difficult to think about special effects when comparing an old film to a new film. But what I like is that George Miller, for both movies, decided to use as little CGI as possible. Even with Fury Road, there is only like CGI expansions of the desert or something.
Sure.
Everything in the car chase and so on is done in real. But the thing is, there is so much more experience, so much more practice in cinematography from this movie to this one, which kind of puts it into perspective that, of course, this chase scene is so much bigger.
But I like this chase scene more.
So much better than the one in Mad Max 2. But in the end, when it comes to what fascinates you is, even though this is a fascinating effort and achievement of how they made it with this scale, it's not as fascinating as having done a slightly smaller version of this in the 80s. So my point goes to Mad Max 2.
I think I'll have to agree with you on this because special effects, I mean, we're not looking at green screens now. I mean, we have to expand it. But if you look at the makeup, the cars, the blood transfusion scenes going on there, even though this is a more entertaining movie because we are from this time, my point also goes with this.
Yeah.
My point goes with this. So both of us have special effects as the old one.
Good. Okay. What's next?
The chase scene. The chase scene, man.
Didn't we just do that?
No, we gotta get... I tell you, the chase scene is mental in this one.
Yeah.
When they, like, exploding fire-breathing guitars, and they have, like, this massive stage subwoofer thing on the chase scene. Slightly mental, slightly mad, haha. But I like this chase scene more. I love it when they're flying off poles. This is so cool. So cool. I know Tom Hardy, because when he was on the floor, just above the floor, when the car was firing away, the wires, Theron. She was worried that the wires were too thin and Hardy's head could actually come and hit the floor and he could be decapitated. And
that would be a short film.
And even Hardy's son asked the director, and the director said, it is what it is.
that is reassuring. That's
very reassuring.
That's just as reassuring as being told, "Oh, you're going to do a stunt today. Don't eat because you might
end up
have surgery."
But my point goes to them. This is a very well thought out chase scene, and I loved it. It was so mental. This is in a time, like you said, this is in a time where there is more experience in chase scenes. So it's easier to film this. This was creativity. Definitely chase scene for me goes in there.
And the thing is, with this chase scene, I like it when directors are creative, but I don't like it when creativeness turns into stupidity.
Yeah.
And when you are in a dystopian, post-apocalyptic future where you do a gas run and have to send a convoy to get a little bit of fuel, burning it out of a guitar with subwoofers that take a load of energy is just stupid. So this is something that kind of pulls me off of this, because I always like the thought, why are they doing what they're doing? And this one is much more down to earth. The people who want the fuel and the people who live next to the fuel, they all have good motivation. And even though this has a grander scale, this one just fascinated me more. So second point. Basically, the chase scene just got this film 2 points.
Definitely. Storyline. I like this blood transfusion thing that they incorporated in this, actually.
Yes.
That was kind of cool. I'm like, okay, fine, they're getting energy out of a different way. This was cool. I liked it. That's it. I like this because of that particular blood transfusion scene. Straight up, my point goes to them. That's it. Short and simple, my point goes to them.
It's a hard thing to say because the storyline of Mad Max 2 is very simplistic. They are the people who have fuel, the people who want fuel. Clash of Clans in that regard. But this is a much more down-to-earth, basic storyline, which is what I love about movies from the 80s. It's more like, there is Arnie, there is a gun, movie is done. But the thing is, what you said, Mad Max Fury Road, took basically the same concept and crammed so much more depth, so much more
symbolism behind it.
Character definition, so much more symbolism, so much more interesting background into this same scenario that I also have to say, I'll give this point to Fury Road.
Beans on cool.
This is the third point that we're giving to the same film.
No, we're not. This is...
No, 1 and 2, but we are agreeing, which I hate.
The better Max.
Oh, we're not going to agree on this one.
Tom Hardy. Hands down, Tom Hardy. Yes, I have a bias with Tom Hardy, but...
What's your bias with Tom Hardy?
He's just cool, man. Where did I see him?
Okay, that's the bias.
Where did I see him? In... Oh, what's that series? Peaky Blinders. When he played Solomon. But different. Tom Hardy plays this role and he nails it. He really, really nails it, and it's just so good. The action, the depth of Tom Hardy speaking. This is, much better. I'm sorry, but the acting could have been better. I know it's Mel Gibson. You can't go around the Holy Grail, but I think Mad Max 2 acting should have improved a little bit. Mad Max Fury, even though the problem is, Mad Max Fury, we already know the storyline, we already know the character. So for Tom Hardy to reinvent the character is the hard part, and he did it very well. Tom Hardy nailed it.
You know, the thing is, when you have a franchise, the character has a face. So for instance, if you now say, we're doing a remake of Ace Ventura, which is one of my first love films that I had in my childhood, it's like, no! This is Jim Carrey. You cannot replace and improve on Jim freaking Carrey. So when you hear Mad Max, you see the face of Mel Gibson, and it's so hard not to just not doing justice to this, but to maybe even surprise audiences with your take on it that is just better. And Mel Gibson, in the second movie, he said 16 lines in total, and 2 of those lines were, I only came for the gasoline. I mean, of course, Tom Hardy isn't like a poet in the Fury Road as well, but I think he has the much more defined, much more interesting rendition of Max. So
it was very hard for him because Mel Gibson is a legend. He's already established himself by the time this comes out, and it's so hard to remake a legend's role, but he did it. This is why my point is with him.
I still hate Mel Gibson, but I sometimes find him cool when he plays the villain in Boss Level or The Expendables 3, but of course, I wouldn't take these movies away, but the thing is, what I think soiled the reputation of Mel Gibson as Mad Max is the third one.
Yeah,
this kind of destroyed his credibility. So I'm going with Tom Hardy as well.
We're agreeing 2-2. Villains.
It's 2-2.
Villains.
Oh my God!
Villains.
Barometer Bum versus Immortan Joe.
Oh my God. I mean,
Barometer Bum. What the hell?
My point will have to go to... Was Tina Turner in the second one?
No, she was in the third
one. Then, straight up Mad Max. So much better. The villain, the acting...
Which Mad Max? You just said...
Fury Road!
The Fury Road! You just said, my point goes to Mad Max. Oh, really?
Yeah. Playing it diplomatic. No, definitely. I quite like the role of the villain there. I think it was much more in-depth, had a bigger role to play in the outcome of the movie. And again, because it's following a franchise, it's very difficult to follow a successful franchise. But they put a good twist on it. I think this was... We're going to come to the conclusion, but so far, this is going to be better than this. And the villain is much better. Much better. I quite liked it. I like the depth. I like the little guy trying to control the trade. It was just, okay, fine, villainally. Ooh. But I liked it. I liked Mad Max Fury villain.
The thing is, I
I'm
really,
with them.
really love the villain of Mad Max 2 because he was so over the top with his hair and with his
He had a
henchmen.
cult following,
I love the way that he dies. You know, these 5 frames of his eyes
his
just
death was
poking
amazing.
out
Oh, maybe.
of his head, and I think the death of the
No,
villain.
I changed my mind. I changed my mind. I just remember the death scene. I'm like, yeah, you can't beat that.
And I think the death scene is one of the most
Yeah.
important things of the villain.
And it was a great cinematic scene.
It was a great
such
cinematic
a great
scene. And it had this impact. But the thing is, when you look at how the villain goes, for me, it's just as important as how the villain comes in. So when you look at Mad Max Fury Road and you see this disgusting, scrumpy, gritty little creature back, and then they're putting this glass thing on top of him, and this is like next level villain look, and how he gives the people the water. And then just shuts it off after 2 seconds, like, don't get addicted to water, ha ha ha. That's like saying, don't get addicted to air, you jerk.
But the death scene, you remind me of that.
I say the death scene of this villain is much better. This is a pure 80s action movie, perfect villain, but the much more interesting character is in Fury Road.
So
and I'm going to give my...
you.
I am going to go with Fury Road, which means for me...
You have 3 points for the Fury.
That Fury Road wins.
But for me, just because of the death scene of the villain, Mad Max wins.
2 wins.
Mad Max 2 wins.
Which is surprising because I love the second film.
I loved it. I really loved both of them. Actually, scrap everything else. Just watch 2 of them.
They're basically on par. But you know, this is exactly why I love doing these film fights.
I like
makes
this,
you
but this,
rethink.
like, what are we doing?
Yeah, this makes you rethink.
It's a draw. It's a draw. Tell us what you think. It's a draw.
Drop your comments in the comment section below. What is your personal favorite? Or do you maybe want to select the first one or the third? Give us your opinion in the comment section below. Just say thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you guys again next week for the next episode of the Pork and Knuckles Show.
Take care.